Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got another episode this week in Warframe. We're doing the entire weekly reset. And yeah, you got about a week and a half of this Nightwave remaining. On February 6th, the Nightwave is going to be rotating to a new Nightwave, Volume 8, and that will be no longer using these types of currencies. So yeah, we'll talk about that once we get to it. But before we get into all this stuff, make sure you're subbed to this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. We just did a level 10,000 mission with Ash for a new Ash video coming out this week as well. So yeah. Alright, starting with the first weekly reset item here, we've got 3x Forma for 75 Steel Essence. So, you know, it takes a day to build Forma usually, so this could be a nice way to get 3 of them pre-built already. And you also get your evergreen stuff like Kuva and relics at the bottom. So for the Infested Lich dev stream coming up on Friday, we're going to have an Umbra Forma drop. We've also got some drops in the live stream channel right now for some Infested Lich online glyphs, and there's 6 of them total. It's a total of 3 hours watch time for the glyphs. I'm not sure how many, I think it's like a half hour on next Friday, the 31st, for the Umbra Forma, but the big thing, honestly, you could not even give me an Umbra Forma, and I just want to hear that new info about the Infested Liches on Friday, so if you can't watch it live, I will be doing a overview video the day of, so you can just stay subbed to this YouTube channel, and you will see the dev stream overview video on Friday night. So let's hope we get some good stuff. They're going to also drop some release dates for other updates too, so should be a good one to watch. All right, for your first, or your second weekly item here, we've got the Dorma Zone, and another pretty good item over here. We got a Orokin Catalyst Blueprint for 20 Pathos Claims. Pretty easy way to get those right there. As far as the other stuff that's not this amazing item that you want to grab, you got a Melee Riven mod for 15 Pathos, a Forma Blueprint for 10 Pathos, not really worth it, Primary Arcane Adapter for 25 Pathos, and 5k Kuva for 10 Pathos. The only items here this week that are worth it are going to be these two right here. Alright, so we're going to go check out the other new items. Let's take a quick look at the calendar here. Which is going to be one of the new weeklies. You haven't played Warframe in a while. There's going to be calendar buffs that can be basically grinded out and active only on 1999 missions. So they vary in power levels for sure, but there's also a good amount of guaranteed powerful loot alongside it too. So not something you really want to be dodging on a weekly basis. So first drops this week, like, see what I mean? You got a resource drop chance booster, good in arbitration missions, good for farming rare resources, or a guaranteed XP affinity booster, very good for leveling stuff up. So you have this as your first item to choose from, just doing a couple kills. You know, you get 150 tech rot ability kills, you get a 3-day booster of your choice on these two. So very good stuff here, guys. After that, you'll go past Letty's or Owie's birthday, and here be your first buff options. You got Practice Precision from Arthur, Psionic Feedback from Nyx, and Broaden Horizons for Owie. So Arthur will give you melee critical chance, which will work for slam attacks. You could get the Eleanor buff that will make it, when you're damaged, you will do an AoE radiation proc. It's not very good, wouldn't recommend it, but you could choose that if you want to. And for Owie, picking up an energy orb will give you 10% range for 10 seconds. You can stack this between weeks to have, like, 40% range if you pick up an orb. So pretty good stuff there. Moving on to the next bonus here, you've got either Melee Arcane Adapter or a singular arcane enhancement from the update. So basically 3 plat or a Melee Arcane Adapter. I'll let you be the decider on that one, but they're both not things I really want personally. But still, I'd say the Arcane Adapter is probably better. And then after that, you can go and get either 1 Arcane or 2k Kuva. This is a pretty underwhelming level up reward right here. 2k Kuva is hardly even a Riven roll. It really isn't if the Rivens rolled a bunch. And 1 Arcane is like 1 mission completion basically. So don't worry too much about that one. After that, you'll get either a guaranteed yellow shard, amber shard, which will give you casting speed or parkour, or a fully built Forma. Again, it's up to you. I have a lot of these, so I might start thinking about the Forma, but I also have a lot of Forma too. So the Archon shards are bottlenecked by time, so I'd recommend you go for this one over the Forma, but it's up to you really. If you have a lot of yellow shards already, maybe think about not taking it. After that, you get a couple other options for buffs. It looks like we got some new buffs this week as well. So let's take a peek here. All right, first one, Friendly Fallout. Attacks from specters and companions have a 25% chance to cause radiation stasis. I don't know why we would ever really need that, but that is an option for you. Funny that Eleanor can just cause radiation procs everywhere, but for some reason we would need the companions to do it. Combo Killer. Combo Multiplier increases the chance of enemies being susceptible to finishers after a melee hit. 5% multiplier, max 65% with Venka Prime. So you can do finishers after you hit an enemy. Really, really situational. We're trying to speed run these missions, not do one finisher at a time, so wouldn't recommend it. And the new one, Frequent Flyer Benefits. Oh my gosh, this one's crazy. Reload speed, fire rate, casting speed, and melee attack speed increased by 100% while airborne. That is ridiculous. That is insanely ridiculous. I am going to have to take that one, no questions asked. The other two are like pathetic compared to that. Jeez, okay. Face off, you know, doing exterminate missions, whatever you're doing, that's going to be really strong. Zephyr, Wisp, you know, the list goes on. Even just jumping around as Mirage, really strong one, Frequent Flyer Benefit. I wonder if we'll be able to stack that between 2 weeks. Multiple weeks of that bonus being stacked would be crazy. That might be too much fire rate, honestly. All right, moving on to the final tiers here. We got some challenges, and for the final option, you get a Forma Blueprint, so not a fully built Forma Forma like the previous one, or an Exilus Warframe Adapter. I'd probably say go for the Exilus Warframe Adapter here, but up to you. And for your final perks this week, we've got the Return of Bottled Lightning, giving status damage and electricity statuses on all weapons. That means even if you're not modded for electric, you will get it built in. And also, if you pick this from the previous week, you can double stack this to have even more electric. So a very good one on that choice. Next one, Got Your Back. Spectres and Companions deal increased damage by 250%. So this is another one you could stack between multiple weeks. Do I have that one? Looks like no. But yeah, you could have this for like 2 different weeks to have like 500% damage. Pretty strong. And the last one, Punch Card for Quincy, gives built-in punch through on primary weapons. Unfortunately, that one's nowhere near as strong as this one, or even this one in my opinion. So I'd say go for Bottled Lightning or Got Your Back over Punch Card. And for your final loot here, you got another resource booster. So you had a resource booster on the first page, or a choice of one, and then also a choice of resource booster on the final page too. So you get 6 days of resource boosters just for grinding out these challenges. That's pretty decent if you ask me. All right, moving on to some of the more of the weeklies here. Or actually, let's just pet the cat that's inside the couch. You know what? That sounds like a better idea than doing the weeklies. Make sure the cat feels loved, so we can go back inside the couch. All right, so we're going to go and check out the Archon Hunt. Now, as far as the Archon Hunt, it should be a red shard, and there it is. So, Archon red shard, I really need some more of these. I'm actually out of red shards entirely. So if you want to grind this out, your mission types will be Spy, Defense, and the Final Boss Showdown. Highly recommend doing these missions on a weekly basis because these Archon shards are bottlenecked a lot by time. Alright, speaking of some more places to get Archon shards, let's go take a peek at the Kavia here. This will be one of your main locations for tons of Archon shards on a weekly basis. And when I say tons, it's definitely in quotations because they are so bottlenecked that you kind of only have a limited amount you can get per week. But yeah, most of them will come from this place right here. So as far as the spots to get Archon shards here, you're going to have Bird 3, and you're going to have the Elite Deep Archimedean and Netracell. So for your Elite Deep Archimedean, think of like a super swordy on a weekly basis that can drop Archon Tau shards and more. Okay, so for the missions this week, we got Disruption, Near Defense, and Exterminate. For Disruption, the modifiers are as follows. All Gruzzlings are Eximus, so they're probably not even worth killing, honestly, because they're really annoyingly tanky. Next, Hostile Regeneration. Enemies slowly regenerate health. That combo right there, Eximus, Gruzzling, and Hostile Regeneration, is just, it makes it not worth killing the Gruzzling. It just gives you 1 key, so don't worry about it in this mission. And the final one, Bolster Belligerence. All enemies have Overguard equal to 50% of their maximum health. So that Gruzzling should be a tank lord. It should be honestly kind of funny to watch how much health it has. But yeah, pretty easy first mission. Just enemies having Overguard is not that big of a deal in Disruption. Second one, Near Defense, the return of everyone's favorite mission. You've got the first modifier, Eroding Senses. The Oracle and Vitrium take damage over time. Collecting the required Vosphine glyphs will halt the degradation and partially heal them. This is a way you could easily fail this mission, so be really careful about this. Try to organize your team, like grab glyphs constantly, because it will be constantly taking damage and you want to not fail. Because this mission is failable and it will set you back through the disruption. You have to redo the disruption too, so careful about that. Vampiric Limitus, everyone's favorite modifier. The vampire ghosts are back, following you around and draining your health and energy if you get too close to them. Yeah, this will be a pretty deadly one right here, guys. So careful about those 2 modifiers on Mere Defense. And the final modifier for this Mere Defense, Alluring Arcanids. At least they gave you a free one at the end. The dog robots will charge, when they charge their attack, they will pull Warframes towards them. So yeah, those first 2 modifiers, very annoying. The third modifier, it's not anywhere near as bad as the first 2 at least. So yeah, after you beat that mere defense, you'll have a exterminate freebie mission at the end to finish out your EDA. And as far as the modifiers, necromechs will appear more often. If an ally is within 4 meters of a dead enemy, they will have reduced movement speed and parkour. And the final modifier, rogue Culverin dog robots equip weapons that deal 5 times damage to Overguard and necromechs. So yeah, the main problem here will be this vampire Luminous eroding senses mere defense. But as far as personal modifiers, we get even more debuffs for you. First off, casting ability to reduce armor by 10% for 10 seconds. Next, abbreviated abilities. All your duration is massively reduced. That should be pretty annoying for my Cora, unfortunately. Gear embargo. No sentinels, no sentinels are okay. No specters or on-call or energy pads, any of that stuff. You can't use it here if you have this modifier activated, but you can choose to turn on or off. And then for the final one, Frame Curse Syndrome. Activating an ability inflicts 50 damage upon you. So you lose armor and HP when you cast an ability, and your abilities don't last very long, and you get no gear. So doesn't that sound fun? Either way, that's going to be your EDA. Great place to get Tau Shards and Legendary Arcanes from this planet. And if you don't, if it looks like it's too annoying for you this week, you can go over to Bird 3 and have a guaranteed yellow shard for 30,000 reputation. This does require rank 5 with the Syndicate to obtain this item on a weekly basis, though. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a peek at the Incarnons. Now, the Incarnons this week are going to be the ones you can always buy for Platinum, okay? And I just used the Okina Incarnon for level 10,000 Void Cascade, and it still hits really, really hard. So we'll be going over all these, and I'll be explaining which Incarnons I'd recommend to you. But yeah, just do keep in mind, this is not a time-limited thing. Well, it's time-limited to grind these out, but you can buy them from Cavallero at any time, these ones this week. Alright, so we got, for normal circuit, we got Saren, Vauban, and Nova. I would say go for Vauban, because Vauban comes from Nightwave creds, and Nightwave creds are very limited. Saren comes from Kale the Fame boss fight on Sedna, which is a little bit annoying to farm, but she's not that terrible. And Nova comes from one of the easiest boss fights in the game, the Raptor on, I think it's Europa. So yeah, go for Vauban, you'll save yourself some Nightwave creds. That's actually a very, very nice thing to have Vauban in the circuit this week. So yeah, definitely go for that if you have him already. As far as the Incarnons, it's going to be some of the new ones, the new Incarnons here. But reminder, if you haven't played in a while, you can get Kuva or Riven instead of these Incarnons. You prefer to get that. But yeah, Steel Path Incarnons right here, some of the strongest stuff in the game. We got the Dara Incarnon, the Sestra Incarnon, the Okita Incarnon, the Cerberus Incarnon, and the Sicarus Incarnon. As far as what these Incarnons do, the Dara Incarnon has gotten a resurgence of popularity due to the new Primary Crux Arcane. With the Dara Incarnon, after getting some headshots, you could transform into Incarnon form with a high-powered magnetic beam that has pretty decent, like, I wouldn't call it AoE, but like it's got pretty decent size to it as far as hitting multiple enemies. It's got built-in magnetic damage, so it can debuff Overguard, and it just has a lot higher damage per shot, pretty much. A lot slower, too, though. As far as these perks, the reason people are actually using the Dara a little bit more now is because of Crimson Overture. Well, it's partially why they're doing it. Increasing your base damage, but also giving you ammo efficiency while you get kills. So those ammo efficiency stacks will transfer over with Primary Crux to give you infinite bullets as you fire this thing. So, yeah, pretty decent there to have infinite bullets in the primary form. It's also got pretty decent damage too, but just definitely more of a workhorse weapon, not exactly the most exciting weapon. For some of the higher tier perks, we got High Ground, giving you crit chance based on your status chance, and also Death Trap Trigger, giving crit chance and crit damage. So yeah, pretty good stuff there, mostly a workhorse weapon. Sestra Incarnon, definitely the one that most people will tell you not to get this week, including me. I have tried to make the Sestra work, and I've made it work, but it's just not really worth using over anything else in the game. As far as what this thing does, once you get some headshots transferred into Incarnon form, after 100 bullets are fired consecutively, you get increased crit chance by 100%. So yes, you need to be fighting an enemy that, well, it's hard to say. Like, you have to be fighting an enemy that requires 100 bullets, or be firing constantly and wasting bullets all the time, or the Incarnon is doing hardly anything at all. Would not recommend this one. I've tried it with Harrow, try it with like Wisp and stuff to get all those bullets out. Even with a fire rate Riven, it's just not worth it. So yeah, if you do want to grab this, you can, of course. You're going against my recommendation on that one because it's a bullet hose weapon that has no enemies that can really survive it. So yeah, lowest recommendation this week for sure. We got the Okina Incarnon. I just used this in a Void Cascade level 10,000 on the Okina Prime. But you can go for the Okina Normal, which has very high Riven stats, or the Okina Prime, which has much higher base stats, but bad Riven stats. As far as what the Okina Incarnon does, after a 6x combo multiplier, you can enter Incarnon form, which on kill, you will release these, like, mini Virgil daggers from Devil May Cry, pretty much. They will hunt enemies down and they will freeze them, put maximum cold stacks on them, which means if they're not or if they're not a normal enemy, they're going to have overguard, it will put a bunch of cold stacks on them, slow them down, and have increased critical damage. Additionally, once you're in that Incarnon form, you will have increased parkour velocity and sprint speed like most Incarnons do. The nice thing about the Okina, one of the nice things about the Okina, it's tier 3 perk. Swordsman Celerity gives you even more movement speed, so you could get movement speed from Swordsman Celerity and parkour and sprint from the Incarnon transformation itself. So lots of good mobility, lots of good damage too. With the Seeing Red perk, you get lots of combo quickly, or the Synergist Surety perk, you get increased status damage, which is really hard to obtain a lot of the time. So yeah, really, really good stuff here. I'll probably put the Okina build in the Ash video upcoming like next week probably. But yeah, either way, guys, really versatile, very strong weapon. And as far as the time with the Okina Prime and Okina Normal, I did use the Okina Prime for level 10,000 Void Cascade, but I'd say for more normal, like you're doing like level 150 survivals on Steel Path, Okina Normal is better because it has more range with a Riven. So if you're not talking about Rivens at all, just go for the Okina Prime though, because it has so much higher base stats. Cerberus Incarnon is going to be a burst mode, and as far as it's burst mode, the non-Incarnon form, and in the Incarnon form, it becomes a 4-round burst. It goes from 2-round burst to 4-round burst, but that 4-round burst, after getting some headshots, will have guaranteed blast procs, and also, since it has so many bullets you're firing, getting 10 blast procs makes enemies explode, so very, very good stuff to get guaranteed explosions, or nearly guaranteed explosions on enemies. For the Blazing Barrel perk, just firing the gun gives you extra multi-shot, 5% per stack, up to 10 stacks. So built-in 50% multi-shot from that. And you can go for lots of extra crit chance and status chance as well. Now, as far as which Cerberus you should grab if you do want to grab this one, I got the Dex Cerberus and the Cerberus Prime. And as far as which one I use the most often, I do use the Dex Cerberus more often than the Cerberus Prime, but that's not to say that the Cerberus Prime doesn't have spots it's better in. The Dex Cerberus has higher crit, where the Cerberus Prime has higher base damage and status chance. So I would say go for the Dex Cerberus, because the Cerberus Prime is also a little bit hard to get, I'd say, because the Dex Cerberus is just like a login bonus, but yeah, you're not going to make there's no mistakes either way you slice it, so go ahead and grab either of those two if you want this thing. And for the final Incarnon here, we got the Sicarus Incarnon. Now, you might remember when the Sicarus Incarnon first came out, it was bugged to be doing, like, Insano mode damage, like, no mods, like, 100k per shot or whatever. And it has been fixed since then. It is definitely put down to the correct amount of damage, but that correct amount of damage can be very, very high. So after you get some headshots and go to Incarnon form, it is going to be able to chain to other enemies, just like, think the Dual Tox Incarnon. Very similar to the Dual Tox Incarnon. With the new Pistol Acuity mods, it can do some really nice red crits, especially with the King's Gambit perk, giving increased crit chance on headshots, but making you do no crits ever on body shots. So a very, very, double-edged sword here. If you get body shots, you will literally never see a normal crit, unless like certain situations. But if you do get a headshot, it's going to be red crits, and if you have Acuity on there too, really, really deadly red crits. So I like it, but a lot of players think it's too much effort to actually use this weapon. So as far as the perks, though, you got lots of good choices here. Big crit chance increase, recoil reduction, accuracy, reload speed, magazine size, and you can also have the Feigned Retreat perk giving increased damage on low health enemies. Now that we discussed all these, what are the best options this week, in my opinion? Well, I would go ahead and say the Okina Incarnon is the #1 choice this week. It is technically replaceable to a degree as far as mobility stat stick, but its special ability of releasing the ice daggers is extremely powerful and fun, so I'd highly recommend that you grab that if you don't have it already. Now, as far as your second option, you got your work cut out for you. So do you want to get an infinite bullet rifle? You get the Dara Incarnon with that new primary Crux Arcane. I'm not going to say it's like a must-have, but it can be kind of fun. As far as the other one, Sicarus Incarnon, a very good, precision pistol, but can be replaced by the Dual Tox in most situations. So I would say Okina #1, and as far as #2, whatever of these sounds the best to you. Do you want a rifle that can make enemies explode? Go for the Cerberus. Do you want a extremely hard-hitting precision pistol that can chain to other enemies too? The Sicarus Incarnon is great. And for the final option, the infinite bullet Dara, that's gonna be an option too, but probably not the best one. If I had to buckle down and pick one here, Okina #1, and then probably the I I'd probably go for the Sicarus number 2, actually. It does really shred high-level enemies, but you have to be willing to go for a headshot. If you don't go for a headshot, you're more, I just want to hit whatever bullet hits, go for the Severus for your second one instead, because that will make enemies explode, and it does not require headshots to make them explode either. So, yeah, my main recommendation is number 1, Okina, number 2, Sicarus, but you guys let me know which ones you like down in the comments down below. All right, enough of that. Let's move on to the last little week here we got of the last full week of the Nightwave. As you can see, it ends in 10 days, 18 hours. So if you have not grabbed this stuff yet, guys, you have 10 days, 18 hours to grind it out. So Deathmark Shoulder Armor, Unseen Dread Augment, Burning Hate Augment, etc., etc. Let's go over our final full week of challenges here. And also, the final week will end on a Thursday, too. So this is the last full week. First off, Protector. Complete 3 mobile defense missions. Second, Sabotage. Complete 3 sabotage missions for Saboteur. First Elite Weekly, Night Terror. Complete 5 nightmare missions of any type. Pretty easy there. Last Elite Weekly, complete a survival mission reaching at least 20 minutes. So yeah, get these all grinded out and then get your Nightwave creds. And that's the permanent weeklies. You got Maximus Eliminator, Mission Complete, and Not a Warning Shot. Okay, let's see. We got some pretty good looking stuff over here, it seems. Yeah, again, if you have Nightwave creds, use your Nightwave creds before February 6th, okay? If you don't, they're going to turn to normal. You'll be able to sell them for normal creds, and that's it. So spend them on like Kuva, Orc, and Reactors, whatever you feel like. So you get your helmets here, pretty good stuff. Nothing really stand out to me, at least. Jade helmets, nice to see. We've got efficient beams for the Convetrix, deadly maneuvers for the Magnus, bursting massive needless Quanta, and napalm grenades for the Penta. These are all nice to see, but nothing really that you need. Unless if you are a Convetrix user, you do need this mod. But for everyone else that doesn't use the Convetrix, don't need this. And if you want to use the Penta, napalm grenades is really good. It changes the functionality of it, but I don't really want to use the Penta, honestly. And you got corrosive protection, shield disruption, and loot detector. I'd say out of these 3, grab loot detector and maybe corrosive protection. And as far as the Conclave augment mods down here, you got ambush optics to Rubico, singularity for Nyx, prism guard, which is very good for Mirage, and double tap for Latron, which does work on the Incarnon form. And that's going to be basically your weekly reset, guys. Let's go ahead and take a peek at those invigorations. But yeah, you got a big dev stream starting on Friday, which will have the Infested Lich information, Lavos Prime information, and a whole lot more. So make sure you stop by the stream, at least before that, if you want to check out what we're talking about there. So for these invigorations, these are random per player per week. So let's see what we got. These can be very useful for farming or, like, if you're trying to do a really high-level mission. All right, first one, we got Calervo. Oh my gosh. Calervo, melee critical chance of energy rate. I kind of wish it had range or something, or power strength, but hey, melee crit chance of Calervo, even more power, or even more crit chance, even more red crits. Sounds good to me. You got the Goth with primary critical chance and armor. Not exactly useful on the Goth, but I'll take the primary crit chance, I suppose. And the final one for Jade. Energy maximum and melee damage. Not the best ones here. I'd say probably the best one is going to be... I guess the Jade one is the best. Yeah, not the best ones for me, but hopefully you guys got better ones, as they are random per player per week. So I'll see you on stream. We have plenty of videos coming out this week. Build videos, all that kind of stuff. So you make sure you guys are subbed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!